I am Abosadi Adeni. Today we begin on a rather sad note. Tributes have continued to pour in for Liverpool forward Diogo Jota, who died following a car crash in Spain at the age of 28. The Portugal forward's brother, Andre Silva, also died in the accident, which took place in the Spanish province of Zamora. The 26-year-old Andre, also a professional footballer with Portuguese second-tier club Penafiel, they said their car, a Lamborghini, left the road due to a tire blowout while overtaking another vehicle and then caught fire. Jota married his long-term partner, Jota Cardoso, with whom he has 3 children, just last month. He recently posted pictures on social media, external of the ceremony, which took place on the 22nd of June. Following the sad developments, tributes have poured in from the sporting landscape and all over the world. The Premier League stated the shock and devastation at the tragic passing of Diogo Jota and his brother Andre, expressing their sincerest condolences to his family, friends, Liverpool FC and all their supporters at this heartbreaking time. The British Prime Minister Keir Starmer described Jota's passing as devastating, calling for prayers, privacy and support for his family and friends. The Portuguese Football Federation in a statement said they have lost 2 champions whose deaths represent irreparable losses for Portuguese football, while vowing to do everything to honor their legacy every day. And Portuguese legend Cristiano Ronaldo sent his condolences to Jota's wife and children, wishing them all the strength at this trying time. His Portuguese teammate Ruben Neves simply stated the Liverpool forward will never be forgotten. A Liverpool legend, Steven Gerrard, sent his condolences to his family and friends, describing this moment as a sad time. After talking about Diogo Jota's passing, the UK's Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy also paid tribute to the footballer in the House of Commons, expressing the House's heartbreak and sympathy to his family and friends.
The comments that were made by the Honourable Gentleman a moment ago about Diogo Jota. We just received the heartbreaking news a moment ago before we came into the chamber that he tragically lost his life at
Well, a very sad one there. Sport reporter Samson Oloyede, that's sport reporter at TVC News, and then John Okon, sport reporter, analyst on our sister station, Yanga FM, both join me in the studio. Gentlemen, good to have you here.
Thank you very much for having us.
Not so much into football, but hearing this news and, the circumstances around it really just sent, chills down my spine. Talk to me, John. How did you feel hearing this news?
Okay, so talking about Jota as a footballer, you talk about him as someone that actually started with Wolves. Was part of those people that made Wolves come to limelight when it comes to football. Growing over there and then moving to Liverpool. The most painful part when I got this news this morning was knowing that the young man who was actually married but didn't actually pronounce it, didn't make it right. Just a few weeks after signing up to be fully married man is gone. The football world is not actually happy because he just won the Premier League and also winning the Euros Nations League. 2 trophies, is not there to celebrate for long. And people knew that if he had flown, like they said, he wouldn't have had this accident. So because of his heart problem, the doctors advised him, don't fly. So he decided to stay back. And that is why I woke up this morning around past 5 and everywhere was just Jota, Jota. At first, we didn't believe it because no health issues apart from the surgery he did, which was a success. And all of a sudden, he's no more. Man, so painful though.
Really painful. Samson, how is this likely to affect the football community?
Well, it's difficult to put in words how everyone will be affected. You'll probably sense that Liverpool is club side and the Portuguese national team will be the ones to really feel his absence because of what it brings to the team. Is a player who comes up as clutch in terms of coming off the substitutes bench, getting the goals He has cordial relationship with, his teammates. We barely hear of issues with teammates in terms of, issues or what have you. Again, you have to also look at it from the human perspective, as this is a life lost. His teammates especially. Usually with national team, duties, you meet probably every 3 months, 6 months. But when it comes to the club side, Liverpool, these are players that train with him day in, day out. They have, team dinner or team lunch and all of that. It will be really difficult to quantify how much of an impact his absence or loss will be to these teammates and the coaching crew as well. As I said earlier, he's been a true professional. We've not had issues on like the Mavericks or maybe like a Mario Balotelli and what have you. He is a core professional, so his absence definitely will be felt by not just Liverpool and the Portuguese national team. You talk about other professionals within the Premier League and outside, it will really be felt.
He seems like a happy-go-lucky kind of person with his simple look and face, almost always wearing a smile, as it were. This is huge. And to think that, just like MC Advice has mentioned, he got married just about 10 years ago. I mean,
10 days ago, yeah, 10 days ago.
Less than 2 weeks. So
he has a wife, he has three children.
Yeah, 3 children, and they would actually now see their father, gone. And these kids don't really know so much about their father because they're pretty young, and you would only listen to what he has gotten as a legacy, and he is growing up as a footballer. Fantastic, always patient, never complaining, would be on the bench. He would definitely not fight any coach. He gets injured, he went for a very long time, maybe over 8 months, coming back into the team, still delivering. And this would have been his best time to shine because he just finished his surgery. So he's fit to go for next season. And the coach at Liverpool would actually be losing a fantastic player that would have added so much to the squad and giving out a good return. Maybe it would have actually been another charm for them to win the next Premier League.
Indeed. This is a very trying one and trying time. But let's talk about a character now, the attitude of footballers. We know quite a number of them to be high out there. They really just want to be in people's faces. They want to have all of the hangouts, whether it's at night or during the day. Party after party, as it were, Samson. What really can we learn from this experience?
Well, it just shows you how fickle life is. And from Jota's perspective, in terms of his character, we've seen on and off the field of play. As I said earlier, he's a player who comes up as a jolly good fellow, someone his teammates can relate with. It's definitely a big loss as well to the coaching crew. Coaches want players that are cool-headed, that they can speak to, control, and have a grasp of when it comes to even dressing room matters. And as he said, this is a player that doesn't throw tantrums when benched, or he's had his fair share of struggles in terms of injury woes. He's been able to deal with them, come back, even when he gets injured. It keeps going. So it's a huge loss. And when you look at how clutch he is as a player in terms of getting off the bench to get the goals, it's definitely going to be a big miss. Again, when it comes to his character, you have to look at how, relatable he is. He looks just like the next guy next door, as it were. So for teammates, for fans who are watching the game, it's difficult to hate on such a player because he's someone who comes across as humble, is quite friendly, he has no baggage with him. He's just the perfect or ideal player any coach would want in the dressing room. And I think for Ancelotti and Liverpool as a whole and the Portuguese team, this again is a huge loss. I feel for players who have personal relationship with him. Some of us have suffered losses in our lives and we know how difficult it is. Even when you think you've moved on over time, sometimes you still have those flashbacks, and it's just always, difficult to really move on.
We understand that Diogo and Andre are the only sons and the only children, as it were, of their mother. Imagine what devastation that would bring to the woman.
So when we want to talk about this, look at them as breadwinners. So painful, you're losing 2 great breadwinners, and you actually fall back to yourself and say, what would the mother feel like? What would people say to the mother? Condolence over time. Who would stand in for these ones? Is there anybody that can actually feel the space of never? They were not people that the mother didn't have a connection with, because you see them travel back home, spend time with family and all that. So that impact has always been there. Now you're losing 2 sons, 2 great footballers, one playing in the lower league and one actually definitely the bigger star, which is Jota. So he's actually in the picture because he is the bigger, person we're talking about. So for the mom, I don't know how she's going to put it together. For the wife, for the kids, we are talking as the football community.
Yeah.
But talking about the family, this is more painful. Where we should start from. You know, so that's why sometimes the bond we share with our children, very important. And I mean, I just wish us the best from here.
I know the teams have mentioned that they would stand by their families, also calling for privacy, you know, as a deal with this situation. But, you know, there was a point I was trying to make earlier about what our attitude or outlook on life should actually be. Diogo and Andre were driving at night, driving a Lamborghini. We all know how sports cars can be. Yes, we are unclear about whatever speedometer, you know, they were driving on. But then, what should we pay attention to? I mean, we actually do not know what they were even going to do.
So that is where the question comes in, because if Jota had questionable characters, you know, off pitch, would have said, okay, maybe they were going clubbing or something. But we've never one day heard, I mean, the last maybe 10 years that has been active in football, we've never heard Jota have any. If there are some players who don't want to mention names that had the same issues, would have been waiting for the next report, like, okay, maybe he was doing this or that. But for this, sometimes you should be more careful. You know, you're not feeling too well first. You just finished an operation. You should have flown with the team, but doctor recommended that you stay so that you can maybe go via road and all, extra check and all. And you are driving. High-speed car. That is the most important thing. High-speed car. They need to check the speedometer you were driving at. Where were you going to and all this? But all these questions don't count now. Yeah. Because we are not here.
Yes, they aren't here. And it's actually very sad. And I'm just trying, you know, I was looking at those pictures, you know, from the wedding. Very lovely pictures, you know, see the smiles on their faces, to think, you know, all of that.
And that's a childhood, sweetheart. It must be said. They've been together since childhood up to this very moment. Just 10 days of marriage and it's all over, ending on such a tragic note. It's really painful, it must be said. One would just hope that the necessary support is given to the family at this point in time. Again, when things like this happen, so many questions arise, as you have said. You know, the cars are fast. What was the speed like, and what have you? It's difficult to really draw out lessons other than when driving, be more careful. But for all of those concerns we may have about why driving at night or what have you, I think at this point in time, souls have been lost. We can only empathize with the family and pray for strength and comfort for the family at this point in time. I'm sure the law enforcement officials will do all of the investigation as to, you know, all other issues surrounding the tragic accident.
Yeah, we're wrapping this up, but just in about maybe 15 seconds, what about immortalizing him? Do you think he's gotten that global acclaim to be deserving of that?
Well, the Portuguese Federation said they would do everything, you know, on a daily basis to honor his legacy. What that means, we do not know yet. It's quite ambiguous, but hopefully in the coming days, we'll get to see what that is. For Liverpool Football Club, how much has he, in quote, contributed over the years to probably warrant a statue, for example, at the club? We do not know. We may have one, you know, some sort of honor at some point, maybe a stand named after him or the training training base and what have you. But I'm sure clubs will do something at this point in time. And UEFA has also stated that the Women's European Championship that's kicked off yesterday will observe a minute silence going forward.
All right, gentlemen, let's quickly play a report now. And just a short video clip showing what we can call the life and time of Diogo Jota.